Hello, everybody. Oops. It's me, Ian Armstrong, Mr. Tin Man, your favorite Bigfoot tracker, maybe. Or maybe just your favorite comedian. Or maybe your favorite, I don't know. Maybe it's only live on YouTube right now. Anyways, good to see you all coming out. Don't forget about those thumbs up, all that kind of sales jargon. Tonight, I want to talk about the farming of Bigfoot, with Bigfoot, and what they do for farming. And on this in particular video, right now, I'm going to show us some proof of their growing of trees, and kind of talk about the pattern of what this tree is showing us and how the changes happen through the hands of Bigfoot and family. And my proof, observating proof of how I come to the conclusion that this in particular tree is planted. And I'll explain all that stuff. And if you really just open your mind with logic, it makes sense. Will you believe me? Will you think there's a different pattern or a different way? Yeah, you can do whatever you want. But please just try to follow my words and try to just have those things settle in your mind and start to add up how many different things that I throw into that box, and maybe come up with sensible conclusions on the items that I'm talking in regards to. See how many different items you can put in that box. And then you think to yourself, how many other people are on those subjects? Like on this level of farming from seeds, has there been a person who, like I've shown other examples, this example here is, it's pretty rare that I do it like this or have done it like this, so it's going to be an exciting way to look at it and go through my breakdown of my understanding of what these guys are up to. And then I'm going to do a part 2 to this video on a day run. Right now we're into snow. I don't know if you get to see any snow out there. We just have had a little bit of snow. I'm sure you're seeing a little bit up there, right? Maybe not. But yeah, we have the snow going on. Just a little bit. It's like nothing right now, but it's pretty darn cold out here. Anyways, so I'm just going to get into it. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for the thumbs ups. You know, any kind of support on that thumbs up is very much appreciated. If you come here, you're coming for a reason. Even if you disagree, a thumbs up doesn't say much for you. It's just helpful for me. So sometimes a thumbs up can be, you're just saying thank you to the person for their work. Like that. And many thumbs up. Like if you see any of my comments, even if you don't feel like reading them, if you respect me, hit a thumbs up. The thumbs up isn't at all transferring information amongst us where anybody can tell what you're doing with your thumbs up. It's just, it would be too mind-boggling for a person to try to follow anybody with their thumbs up. It's really your comment that catches the person's, other people's awareness. Supporting comments is a good thing, guys. When you see somebody who's saying something kind or whatever, throw another comment on there, or somebody's being a bit of a dip. Another thing that I do more of now is I get rid of the dippy comments very quick, and so on and so forth. Okay, so what do we got right here? Hopefully you can see it all right. This is on live right now, right? So what I'm going to do is I got a little bit of a light here I'm going to use. It's my little speaker. It's a speaker light. It's pretty cool. It's only $5. You know, you got the light in there. Whoops. There we go. And you got two brightnesses. I'll try this brightness for now. I'm going to go for the dimmer brightness. And basically, so what do we see here? We see, how can I hold it? Kind of like this. There we go. Something like, what if I do that? So we see this long baby tree and root. Okay? So right here, whoops, right here at this in particular level right there, whoops, get that light back. That in particular level right there is the seedling. I can try to just get the light a little bit better for us. How about if I hold it here? Okay, there we go. So right here is the seedling. Here, up until here is how deep it was in the ground. So it was, let me see if I can put the light here. There we go. And hopefully me holding it well will just work. Seedling. Ground height. So from the ground height down, it's approximately, so from here to here, that's approximately 7 inches. Out of ground, from here to here, whoops, to here, it might be 10. Okay, so I can do a better thing here. So right here, that might be about, I'll put it from here to here, that might be about 10 inches. Being kind of rough on it now. See, so it's not far off from equal distribution. You can see it's, you know, could we straighten it out and get another 1/4 of an inch out of the roots? You know, you might be able to. But it's very equal in size. Okay? And it was a seed that was planted. This is a new area. You're going to get to see part 2. You're going to get to see what I'm showing you there on the second part of the evidence of this. So remember that as you watch this. So we can see a beautiful tree that is just one thing. It's got no branches coming off of it. The lights here will come back on in a moment, guys. I got my couple of candles going, but they might not be close enough for light. This one here is wearing low on its candle. But anyways, it's just part of how I do it. It's fun. Living how I choose to do my research and stuff. A lot of people have a bit of a hard time with me doing it and stuff. And sure, sometimes you want different comforts in life. But I tell you, man, I'm having a thrill. So back to this little plant here. So what we got going on is somebody planted this seed, is what I'm saying. You're going to see a whole field of planted little trees of these, not like acres, but you're going to see a whole field of these planted trees. I happen to be standing there, and I look down and I see all these things, new sprouting little plants at this time of year, right? I bent down. I tried to pull on a smaller one yet than this. This is kind of probably middle of the road of them. And I would have ended up breaking it because I knew I was going to end up twisting the little thing to be able to get it out of the ground. So then I reached over to the next one, and this one came out not easily, but it came out, and it came out perfect. I did a nice, soft, gentle pull, and it came out all in its shape. It showed where its seedling is. It's 2 balls. One of them sort of falling off now and stuff, me being rough with it. Anyways, when we start to look at the branch configure, so right now we're looking at the trunk here. When you look at the top of it, and then you look at that branch right below it to the distance to that branch, you see that one is on this side. This one wouldn't be 180 degree. It's more like about 150 degree maybe, and then maybe another 150 degree instead of going right onto the other side. Okay, but the branch here distance and the branch here distance is within its. This one is in a different stage of growing than this one, but these two here, oh well, these two here are on the same stage. Right, from here to here, here to here, here to here, here to here. Many of them are on the same stage. They're not, as I look at it, they're not 180 degree coming out, but they're all consistent with the same amount of degree. They're all consistent with the same amount of spacing within where it's growing, because the center, this much of the tree, is kind of in a state of mind that even large trees go into. They will very rare small amounts grow at the bottom, and they mostly grow at the top and will not change in these fractions very much, just so you understand your trees out there. When we were young, we were always taught that this is how a tree grows. It grows really deep into the ground. Look at all these roots would be just shooting off wherever they're shooting off when you go and pull yours. Okay? It's too bad this light went and died. I'm going to see if it'll come back on. Might have been on a timer. Anyway, so at that stage, you can come and you look right here where I'm pointing with my finger here at the base. That's the part that's just coming out of the ground. You could go to baby ones like a tree this small, and you could start observing for markings there, looking for little scratches. On this tree, you're not going to cut in deep if you want to stimulate anything. Stimulate a sore. Let's pretend you're trying to stimulate a sore, but the way I'd be looking at it is I'm stimulating growth, because I've been watching how these Bigfoot beings do it. So they would come along and they scratch that base a little bit just to stimulate that it wants to send that root in better. It wants to suck up more nutrients and water. They really know how to make them suck a lot of water, trees. And if we look at the tree, it's going to grow pretty nice. It's just going to keep growing, right? So you yourself, just go with that amount of information and start doing your own observations, because I'm telling you, I'm the lucky guy who's really got to figure it out on this level and more levels. And I'm passing it on to you to do your own research. I'm not telling you to pat me on my back and say that I'm right. I'm already knowing I'm right. And I'm cool with that. And I feel that it's necessary for me to pass it around so other people can figure out the science of it also on their own. Okay, and in the next couple of days, I'll come back with a video. I'm going to keep going on the live here, so don't go anywhere. But on the next couple of days, I'm going to go to that field. It's actually where I camp out, and that's that cul-de-sac area there that's just being built up right now, and they hang out there all the time. That's where, yeah. So let me just finish up here with that beauty. So hopefully you guys kind of enjoyed that. Anybody going to say hi or anything out there? I got myself my other camera here, and I thought I'd go onto my channel and just talk about, you know, maybe a couple of things that I've been uploading and get an idea of what you might want to say or what I'm doing on those videos. You know, my channel is for thinkers. I'm getting a lot of respect out there on my channel. I really much appreciate it. If I talk about haters, it's kind of something you do. I guess like some of the really intelligent YouTubers and such. I should have put it on a dimmer screen, eh? Yeah, I'm going to have to figure something out here, guys. But, okay. Actually, suggestions. Display brightness thing. Okay, it does an adaptive brightness. It doesn't, I don't think I have a... So hopefully that will be good. Oh yeah, that's going to be good. So, go to my channel, my videos. Yeah, so I'm just going to show you guys, or let you know. Anyways, I'm at 4,127 subscribers now. Thank you so much. That makes me feel fairly accomplished in this. It feels pretty good. And I got 1.4 million plus views. And those numbers are climbing pretty, like, really good in the last couple of months here. Do I want them better? I think that's, maybe you'd be able to guess that. Alrighty, so yeah, I'm gonna try this video so you guys can hear it right off the bat. Bigfoot calls of wolves. I want to hit pause because I want to... Okay, it is right at the beginning. See where the volume's at on this thing. Whoops. I guess that's not the volume. Oh, there you go. Don't want to have it too high. You guys hearing him? Now, that's my wolves video. If you go into that, I'm parked in the same spot I'm parked right now tonight. Same spot I was parked over in the corner over there, though. It's a little bit in the parking lot, a little darker corner. And why I was here was I came here to upload this video. Camera shut off, and then I took a couple. Which is called Bigfoot Grabs. I don't know if you guys can see that. With the white, it might be too much. Bigfoot grabs a dog. But will he release part 2? Bigger questions exist other than my observation. So in other words, bigger questions exist. I'm not trying to, because I do get some flack on my level of that I give myself, maybe for my recognition of my tracking. But there's nobody coming to you and showing you something like this and saying you can actually track them even through this little tree here, this baby tree that they have planted. In time, that's going to start to open up the theories of it, the understandings of it, and people are going to get into it. I already got a lot of support. I already know that people support me in such a way with some of my findings that when they see and understand this one, it's going to be one that they put on their list for continuing. That's kind of the support that I'm getting from a number of people out there. So with me even saying in this, I was saying questions exist other than my observations. I'm saying, what's your question? What's your answer to that question? And can I say my answer to that question without you feeling like we have to end the conversation, or can we get deeper into the conversation because of where we're going with it? Bigfoot grabs a dog. That's an assumption, that's an observation of mine based on what went on in this video of a guy frantically. I heard the dogs and the coyotes. I wouldn't have gotten them on the video. They literally lasted for probably about 15-20 seconds in the first, and they just did one of those wild things. Then that guy went bang into his yelling for his dog. And I sat there and I sat there for probably close to a minute before I finally decided it's not ending. And then I went for my stuff and observed this. So at the very end of this, and that's the beautiful part of it, is that, let's see if we can hear it. At the very end of this video, walk away and they might do it again. Okay, so I'll come back because they did do one. Walk away and they might do it again. Go for the second one.
Cheerio. Lessons to be learned by all of us.
Oh no. I did miss them all. Let me just rewind then. Good enough for it.
It's excited about it.
Yeah. So this was at the end.
Hunt most of our areas.
I was kind of almost bummed out a bit that I didn't get them at first. And then, you know, sometimes you hang on long enough.
Like a...
Those are carpenters. Still working.
They're just doing some squealing there. I shouldn't have acted excited about it.
Getting that?
Get here.
So at the end of the video, they just put out their few chirps there that give my stuff support. You got to understand that, like, and then I say I drove down here with that sound of those guys, the story of this guy yelling, me saying claims that, you know, what's the other story then, that he was yelling for his kid like that or his wife? And then all of a sudden he seems calm and is able just to, that's because he was down the ridge a little bit probably, that they ended up letting the dog back out, or they had the dog squirrely, or the coyotes really were chasing them, whatever, if you don't want to fully believe it or something. But then I drove down to here, what's that? Because I went and grabbed a burger and stuff, came here, so about an hour to 2 hours later maybe, I'm sitting in this parking lot, just finished uploading that video, and the wolf calls happen straight out over here, just on the right by the train tracks there where I sit many times, and that went on, and that's cool, and yeah, you gotta believe it. Oh, and this was the short little one. Oh, that's just the beginning of the guy. Yeah, that's just the beginning when I got out, but I had already missed the coyotes. This rock wall one. I've got a number up now of this rock wall.
So if the picture isn't the best, then please try to understand. But basically, you see,
Oh, I guess I don't think I do the, yeah. I end up talking about the other side of the road there. But that rock wall, imagine that this is the rock wall. So they try to do a lot of good joints like that. So if stuff is broken, they try to put a triangular kind of stone somewhat sitting there, and then they sit there and change them all up. But they're trying very well to have all their joints fairly sealed. That's the style that this wall was built in. And now what you get to see is a lot of broken off bits, like chunks of the rock. You end up getting these fracks through the rocks and stuff. So watch your retaining walls. And all that this is for is not, obviously doesn't seem like that big of a deal. But where this is leading is what it is the big deal. And where this is leading to me trying to also get you to not just study this and get bigger minded people that need to be on this to study this, but to also realize that it is actually happening in concrete. Rock is in concrete. Concrete is the hard surface, the hard material that we use in many of our structural configurations. And for whatever reason, they want that rock back. I don't know which. Like, there's a couple of videos that people miss out on pretty.
Resolve gold for whites. Instant whites, even in cold water.
Okay, this is a pretty good one.
Push there. That's all.
I'm gonna put down the volume. But this is a pretty good one. This is the one where it's called Bigfoot Issues Awareness. They watch from Hillside. Curiosity. On this one, guys, if you guys come in, so you go whatever, you come into the video somewhere in the halfway mark, and you guys just start to look in these areas as we play through. Sometimes even when you do it like this, the pictures changes in a good enough way that you get a better view. Try changing your dim, your brightness and stuff like that. On these little phones, if you watch them like that, some of them do a zoom in, where you can zoom in. And what you'll end up starting to realize is what these guys are capable of doing is they're capable of hiding in there. They're capable of having their hand. See that one lit up thing there? That might be a guy's hand just going like that, just like I'm doing there in the light, or in the light there. See, like you'll see fingers in the light and stuff. You'll see an arm. This might even be the area where I believe a guy's got his arm. Like, and I swear you can, if this is the spot, you get to count 5 what seem like fingers on there. You get to see what I would assume, if this is the one, where I would think his top coat on his arm could be a reflective color of almost like a grayish, and his under part of his arm is darker, like maybe in the blacks. And the reason why my mind goes with that is because on my big baboon-headed, video, he shows different colors like that. And he even I see at one point where his palm is a color and the back of his hand is drastically a different color. Yeah, I don't know if that was the spot. But sometimes just watching the video tricky differently might be the way you're doing it. That's why I'm holding this through there, because the way that I'm seeing it's kind of like different. I'm liking it. So what you see there, I think if I'm looking at the right spot, is that's to go up to the golf course there. And what I've been doing is I've been working the spot a number of times. I work this spot and don't really tell them that I'm looking for them. Their curiosity for us is quite a big curiosity. What I'm telling you right now is pretty good strategic information. I should be maybe not sharing it, or people should be pretty grateful at the ways that I do my work. My relationship that I get to have with them could be different based on my hearing, guys, because I have 3 hearing conditions. I got severe tinnitus. I got severe hyperacusis. So I hear a complaint of sound alarms in my ears going all the time. And then the other one is a disorder of sound where it's amplifying the sound and such, where your ears are registering that they don't like that sound. So, yeah, that kind of be what that kind of be like that. Well, here's where I talked about that rock wall really close. So what I'm talking about is, you see this rock, you see that chunk right there even, right? Smack out. This hole here, smack out. You stick some other ones in there. You grab some from there, you stick them in. Like, I'm talking, these guys who built this wall might use, I don't know, a dozen or something of some rocks around that size. But when you're getting into all this little stuff, he would be in, I know the guy well, Jason. I haven't seen him for very many years or whatever type thing, but if I went up to him and I said, man, I've seen your work and it just sucks, he'd be quite insulted by that. Guess what I seen today? I got to see an actual city worker today. He was an inspector. He was in this complex here. I pulled up to him. I told him who I was. I told him about my channel. I tried to kind of give him an impression. Don't go to crazy, please. And I said, you yourself, when you're driving out, can examine this wall. I told him what's happening to it, that it's structurally failing, because it is structurally failing. And yeah, if you could go up to any wall like that and you could pull rocks out of there, would you not get the impression that it's structurally failing? So right in this one, that crack there, I should go up there and try to observe that crack again. That crack right there I'm talking about. But there's granite rock right in the front of one of our parks. And I'm showing you guys how right off the bat. And it's not every rock you will be able to pick up details on yet, but someday you will. And when it comes to the bigger rocks around your park is what I'm referring to. I'm not talking about all the rock you're walking on, so you don't have to be sarcastic or something. But when you're looking at your pavement, your driveway, the mall, and you look down at that crack, imagine looking at the crack and you're thinking to yourself, is that a crack, something going apart, or is it actually a valley, something that's being created and chipped in? When you start looking and saying valley instead of crack, oh, here's a perfect spot. I think this might be the one. So this one I go right down. Yeah, this is going to be beautiful. Hopefully you guys can see this well. So what this is where I'm showing you, they go to this point of, because I tell you about that, they do the asphalt damage. You know that, right? Cracking asphalt. There's rock in asphalt. Now, if you go to this one of these spots here and you pause it like that, I wish I would have done a little bit more detail, right? Sometimes you feel goofy out in the middle of the road. And you go, what you're going to end up realizing is, oh, cool. That crack that Tin Man Ian is talking about is actually, you can see it's carved out. But it's, I'm not sure if it starts on this side and ends on this side. You know, like, I haven't got into the details that much, but you can tell that it is a side of either starting or ending. When I first quickly looked at this, I thought it was the starting on this side. So, but I haven't fully completed on believing that. And that's because there's a bit of a pile up of small of the because there's sand in here. So the small granular of the tar basically covered sand as pushed up there a little bit. And I was wondering, okay, because it almost does on the quick glance, does look like the in across, and that's part of what I wanted to look more, on this side, and the other one is to see if that's the exiting, because you get to see those. You get to see those in the cuts in the trees. You get to see the entrance of their claw mark to help confirm to yourself that you believe there's a tool of some sort being used, which is most likely a knife. I don't think they're walking around with so you guys kind of see that one, right? That one's called Bigfoot have been here see the cut mark showing information that many understand, and read my comments. In other words, you go like this on here, and you go and you hit that little arrow right there, and I do lots of comments on here that I don't put in necessarily in the other comments, you know, and here I'm showing you guys real structural damage happening to a bridge that is fully connected with the same patterns. You get to see startings, you get to see endings of cuts, scratches, carved out things. I'm kid you not, man. They have their own grout that they will make up on sites to try to make things, make their damage hidden. So this is some of their damage right along the top on here. And when you get in there and you look at this, you end up realizing it's true. It is being vaulted upside down. It's being made into a valley. It's being cut out of there. It's being chipped away, scratched away. Look at these two aren't even meeting there at that point anyways. They probably cut them across and have met now. And so what this does is this really does bring you to a bigger picture. And let me go into the bigger picture here. I'm going to go into my history, what I was looking at just today. I believe it was today. So how's everybody doing? Please make sure you start talking about some of my theories if you're understanding them. You know, start sharing in that level of conversation at work. Like, I just talk to people. How have you found your trees? Did you prune them last year? Oh, yeah, I had to prune them twice. They're going fast, eh? Yeah. Not me. Mine are all dying. It's really weird. You know, because different stuff's going on. And those are different triggers that can teach you things. So here we got pardon my language, my pronunciation, but Bento Rodriguez mine disaster. Oh, no, this isn't the one I want to look at. Yeah, it must be this one. Yes, it'll be this one then, I think. So basically, or maybe it's not. Just let me hit the volume here a bit, because I'm thinking there's no sound on this. Yeah, no, this isn't the one, because I actually want to see if I get the right one here. What's this one? Oh, here it is.
Is the latest affected by Brazil's dangerous mines, an industry in dire need.
So basically, I think that this is Al Jazeera's. Basically, what I ended up learning from watching this, I'm just trying to get to a good spot here where it's showing some of the disaster. Maybe it wasn't Al Jazeera's. Maybe it was one of the other ones. But there was a warning. Like, I'm not familiar with the story as part of my confusion. From reading some comments on these, it sounds like they had a catastrophe just in recent years, and then again just recent months. And people are talking, why wasn't it sold the first time, and so on and such. There's an engineer that they said, the main engineer on the site, or one of the ones that they use, said that they were supposed to drain the lake, I believe, that he did. Oh yeah, he didn't want them to add on to that dam or whatever was going on there because there was cracking in the dam. That's the point I just basically want to get to, is there was cracking in the dam. And I say, I bet you it's not cracking. I bet you it's fracking. I bet you it's Little Valley digging. And people aren't recognizing the sign because concrete's cracked ever since we invented it. Trees have fallen down ever since we came along. Mountainsides have fallen on roads ever since we've been building roads through the mountains. Underground water issues have been happening ever since we understand Earth can shift and we started putting our water underground. And these guys do stuff underground. That's one of the things I wanted to get to earlier in my tree part of it is, when you go up to a big tree, well, just picture this tree, 100 years old, different. I mean, 100 years just now. It should be more or less just growing like it is, and this growing like it can. You know, going around, whatever it's going around, that's probably what that has to do with. A lot of that has to do with just because that rock, it had to go around that rock. Look it's not eating the rocks or anything like that. It's at this stage anyways, we would not think that these root systems will automatically graft to itself. One of the big talkings I've been talking about, guys, is there's a big movement of they make the stuff come back around to itself. You could have done this with this tree. I could still plant this tree even though it's been days out of the water and stuff. Easily get it going again and stuff. I could turn it around and have it kind of hold it like that. Start to just even score the tree there and score the tree there. It'll feed the whole system easier and do whatever it's doing. They do a lot of that in very peculiar kind of ways. You know, our epidemic of the what we call burrows, I believe, you know, where our tree has this great big... Go up and look at those. You're going to just see where they're picking at them all the time and making those things larger and larger. It's just like a boil kind of a sore that just is somehow feeding off of the body of the tree, and these guys are just... And it just keeps doing that. And part of the reason might be because, like, they do it more so, is maybe their own nutrients in a way, maybe because they also know we like to harvest them to some extent. You know, people make great looking art, wood projects out of those things. So another thing I want to say then is when you go out there in your field time and you see that tree that has fallen down, 100-foot tree has fallen down or something, and you go up and you see just this root compiling of just all right here, and you wonder where all this is. If you look hard, you might be able to see part of what a long one would have been going straight down. Sometimes you'll see that they almost look like they've been broken off pre that big root mess, you know, that gets brought up, and there's so much just root at the above ground, or I mean at the surface of ground. Now you start looking at those roots and stuff, you get to see once again a lot of grafting. So these beings have a huge capability of going in ground, caving in ground. People already have a lot of those feelings. So they have an ability to work what I'm thinking is going to come through. So I can easily say that they work the top of the trees, and easily say that they do it worldwide. And I'm sure that if they don't touch every tree, that they want to be working on every tree. But I assume that they probably do work on every tree, these beings. And what I'm guessing, based on work I've done and what I've seen and stuff, guesstimating to some degree that I think they do, they're part of the cause of why these roots aren't really how we first understood that they would do. And they're just becoming these big compiles of root up on the close surface closer surfaces. Doesn't mean they don't have any good ones going down, but they're not working as the full anchor job as maybe how we understood them to be able to do. You know, like I say, in that compiled root ball here, I've seen where I'm thinking looking at that one that must be the stem that's going down deeper, and you look at it and you wonder how that damage happened before this big root ball went like that and it snapped off and such. So there's lots of thinking for you, not just to come past my channel and maybe leave some silly comments or something. Go out there and have a month's study on some of your trees in your yard. I bet you a 1 month study will probably make it so you start to study them more. You'll see some changes in that month, and it'll just get your curiosity flowing. So, hopefully people enjoyed what went on. Is anybody out there? You guys able to say hi? What do we got going on here? I'm seeing the mute microphone. Wouldn't that be funny if I was muted the whole time? Top chat, some messages. Live chat, all messages are visible. Oh, holy cow, my messages were off. I'm sorry about that. Hey, Rob. Gee whiz, eh? Marsfo 20. Big Georgia. No, or is that Noah? Noah, how's it going? And mid-south Sasquatch, cool. Oh, Memphis, cool. Good to see. I think I've said, okay, yeah, I think I've said hi to, that's just, Nona. Hello. Yeah, I think I've said hi to everybody now. Oh, there's Joyce. Gee whiz, that's a good name. From Florida. I like that one, man. I've never seen that one. Put some spins on that one easy enough too, eh? So I hope you guys are Bigfoot Forest, how's it going? I hope you guys are, hey Scott, how's it going? I hope you guys are trying to open your mind. Like I'm telling you, if you go back and you watch the earlier of my video, I explain farming procedures of these guys, and it's just the same stuff that we do. We don't grow from seed stages so much when it comes to trees. We, maybe in the nursery, in lots of cases, they start from seeds, but when we're planting outfield, we don't start them like that, and that's how I found that. That's what I did, was I pulled that out of the ground in a field. And why I did that is because I've also claimed in many other times where even blackberries, where I've come in and you can tell they've just planted a whole bunch of sprout blackberries, just little sprouts for the next season or whatever. If you mean me, I go to Ohio at least once a month. You have a sweet Bigfoot family there? You can't hear me? Yeah, I was rambling there. Well, look at, they got those warning things in there now, eh? On the chat. Well, I think I'm talked out. You're awesome, Scott. I'm very firm believer of the Bigfoot and primates around the world. You're loud and clear. Okay. Okay, you know what? Go watch then, Scott. Watch my first face-to-face encounter. Watch my big big baboon-headed. He's a really hard one to find. I don't know if 50-50 people work out on that or what, but my first face-to-face, you know, just use your imagination and you'll see him back in there. It takes a while to maybe see him. Some people, like I was sitting with somebody the other day, just showing him on my small camera here, my phone, and instantly the guy was able to see him. And he also picked up on when they left, and at the end of the video, because I'm kind of saying I say thank you, goodbyes or whatever, and that's my first time. So yeah, if you think I'm sounding funny or I'm tripping out on any of those times around those videos, I was tripping out a lot on my first 21 days, man. There was a lot going on. For 21 days there, hugely changed my life to put me into a situation where I feel, you know, I keep just trying to spread the news of it and on the level that I see it on, and, you know, eventually I'll quit, but oh, you had your Bluetooth on in the other room. Oh, you couldn't listen to it very well over there, eh? I'm here, Cosmic Grandmaster. Cool. You're here and I'm leaving. Guess want to see where I'm perched? First face-to-face here on YouTube. You got it. Try it right now if you want. Can you bring up two screens, or are you on a phone? I could bring it up on my my handy dandy little guy here, and you probably could pick him up through there. So there, playlists. I do have it on its very own too. Same with the big baboon-headed. Plus more other ones in there, but so oh, I got to turn you around to see it. So a really good time to watch this one started is around, I think, just in the 140 or something. Oh no, maybe a little bit before then. But let me do that right in here. So I'll push so you can see the time, what it's at. And right about at 220? Or I mean 2 minutes. Sorry, my finger's cramping. Right there is where, whoops, where he is.
Hello?
See, and that's when it zooms very, like, does a very nice focus.
Hello?
And if you guys take into consideration almost that dot of darkness there.
Nice.
So I'm still more or less in the same spot. I bounce around, but you can line up the trees and you'll see. But then you see that shadow just leave to the back. It's almost like a slide out of the picture. And then the green tree and stuff like that becomes more visual. And after you get good with him, then you go around and you start to realize there's a lot going on there. Like, I don't, you know, a guesstimation can be anywhere from 15 to 50. And in the outskirts, when you're first walking up there, let me show you this and see if you guys can pick up on this at all. When I'm actually, so I'm going to try with the volume a bit louder here. Hear me sniff? I'm going to rewind that a bit. So what I'm going to do is from here, I'm doing a little sniffing test. You know, I'm checking to see if I can smell anything. But I want you to listen to that noise. And this is in part thanks to two guys, but one of the guys was Bigfoot anthropologist. Because I asked him if he could do a thing on this, but I was hoping he was just going to actually, you know, kind of focus on the being in the bush. But he's mostly a sound guy. So he picks up on the sound, and that's when I first was hearing it on his video, but I thought he was making it jump on his video. That's the impression I had. And then since I've done, somebody on this video commented, and they said something about, hey, it's unreal how you can hear them. And then that's when I realized, holy cow, you can hear them. And I actually believe my mind was registering it as maybe as wind or maybe as the traffic. But if it was the traffic for the noise to get there, it has to travel, it's a ways over here. It'd have to travel up a bit, you know, like hundreds of feet, and then be dropping down to me there. So it's kind of interesting, you know. So I just want you to listen to this noise and what I'm doing is I walk off, like where I do the sniff, I feel like, man, something's going on inside here. And so what I'm doing is I'm just kind of diverting myself. I'm trying to focus my mind and think of a plan of what I'm doing. And that's what you get to see is my first plan of kind of going this way, and then I turn towards them. Hear those blasts of noise? Hear that? That's not my phone. That's them reacting. It's not my phone tripping out with that noise. It's like that area there is full of something very small, or are they deflecting the noise into there? And then here I start to come around because I'm not picking up on the noise. The noise wasn't really tripping me out. And this is how different people get, you know, they talk about different people tripping out from these guys and such. And it's going to be those different kinds of ways of them doing their noise. And, yeah, what am I, you don't need to see it again. You know, like the lady in Coquitlam here, British Columbia, Coquitlam, 2 years ago, dog walker lady, 3 dogs. You'd Google that, it'll come up. I got to check and see if anybody's done an interview on her or anything like that. She was gone for 2 nights with 3 dogs, you guys. And search and rescue, world organization, we all know. That, you know, Canada's known for their search and rescue, and America is too and stuff. And they were totally off track of where she was. She's way over here in some valley. They're way over here looking for a lady and 3 dogs. Why? Because I know 2 years ago or so, I could tell on where I'm looking right now, one of my clans over there, I picked up on those guys very well, that they covered tracks, sweep them, whatever they do, change them up, make different tracks. Learned it very well at that clan over there, the Waterfall clan. Clan up the river here, the Big Fraser River. I called them, I haven't been there for quite some time, but I called them the hand-grabbing clan. And the reason is because when I discovered them in this one in particular area that they obviously just like to hang out, anything that they left behind that was evidence of, I guess, footprints, bum prints, whatever, they would grab a handful like this, you know, do it yourself in some sand or something like that. And that print you get left behind was so very similar. Like I even do a comparison on one of the videos and stuff like that. But so they would grab a handful like this and they would toss it on their other prints, and they wouldn't think about the print of their hand. So amazing stuff, amazing abilities of these beings and stuff, and personalities and stuff. And I'm telling you, man, they're very, very close in some respects with me, where, you know, somebody said, you know, wrote me a bit, I think it was Rudy or something like that. Or, you know, whoever the person is, you know, it's just a name lots of times, right? Said, why don't you almost set up a camp or something, some kind of, I don't know, I didn't really read it, but like an ambush kind of thing, or where you try to do a surprise to them. And so I told him that's not happening. It just, especially in our area here, that you don't put on surprises to them. If the cops are coming down the mountain ways, I believe that they're going to if there's a natural thing of them in the huge numbers that they've come to be known, that we don't even really know yet, but it's so successful because of their, how they alarm each other, or how they work as a team, something like this. The people who catch them on camera generally have done it because of, in many cases, we can see there's been a mistake by a young being, and this larger being is there. And I believe that's Patty's story also, myself. I have my understanding what I believe Patty went down. Not many people even try to come up with a theory on what went down with Patty. I got my theory. And yeah, youngsters come into play. And in a lot of the other video ones, there's youngsters come into play. Or there's ones where maybe the beings, they're far enough out where the alarm patterns can be different, or in history, near history, they're a little bit different. So they could be upping them, right, as they learn their knowledge. Because I think they're on a knowledge mission at the same time. I think with this closeness, because I think that's one of the changes, is they've come into a proximity of closeness with us now, where they, for whatever reason, feel very easily in this close. And I think it's just because we've been clueless to them. Their way of doing it has been successful. But then I look at missing children, missing women in these weird situations. That lady in Coquitlam who, they're lucky they found her. And the reason they did was a guy that on her first night lost, that day was coming home from a camp up in the mountains, seen this lady walking 3 dogs. He has a smoke. He goes home the next morning. So it's her second night. Next morning, he's a fairly young guy too. So lucky he was into the news. He brings up the news, and missing lady, 3 dogs, bang, he phones the police because he's seen this lady way down a canyon or something like that, walking 3 dogs. And meanwhile, she was already one night out there, just trying to find her way home somehow. And these dogs were not leading her there. They were only leading her further away. And it's because somebody was leading them. There's a system to the disappearances and stuff, to the awareness, to the people's maybe capability of even closeness. And that's when I come into my hearing disability again, of my severe tinnitus and hyperacusis, that you might understand it as tinnitus. And yeah, I think those are blockers in a way. I know, I don't have the best of hearing. And then anything that gets drowned because of that tinnitus sound, then there's obviously, if there's a same tone from a tinnitus and then an outside tone that's working in that sound, it can be difficult to register that kind of stuff unless I'm in my pure silence. Like right now with any of the sounds, that's one of the issues with tinnitus, is your brain is in an heightened, or your hearing or what mechanism is in a heightened state of alarm. So it's going in however many tones or whatever people get. I'm in the high tones. I get no bass tones or anything, and I'm very thankful for that. Anyway, so that alarm is going off. And what your ears also do then at the same time is any noises that are going on, they're just, You know, and that's part of the reason why when a person with tinnitus is in a cluttered space with a lot of noise, they don't enjoy it. It's because their ears are actually trying to, or their brain, whatever the mechanism is trying to pull all those sounds in, because it's trying to help to figure out the solution to turn off your alarm. And then I have the hyperacusis, which is, some people say it's kind of like or is it just me who says that? It might be just me. Yeah, I think it's me. I say that it's almost like an allergy of sound. That might be my statement. But anyways, one of the statements I have heard many times is people describe it as sounds are amplified. But at the end of the day, sounds are irritating. You know, just imagine being zapped by electricity, and you get that zap going through your body, or you put that 9-volt battery to your tongue. About that amount of zzz that you would feel for that second, that's part of what the hyperacusis brings me. It brings me that feeling from head to toes. And if people wonder why I wear these even in the winter, that's the reason. Like, my feet are very cold right now. Not where I'm getting frostbite or something like that, but they're cold where they actually, that is a weird thing that's, I find helpful. Then I learned that a couple of years ago, and that's when I was doing started this channel. I started this channel out as my tinnitus therapy. And in a creek, you'll find on some of those old videos, in a creek, I did a barefoot experiment. That was, I don't know if it wasn't my first experiment. It was my first experiment, maybe going to that degree. But I think I had been walking around outside a couple of times on the gravel and stuff in my bare feet, and I wanted to be tougher on the gravel, and it put the thought into my head to go try out in the creek back there, just a really cold technique, and yeah, it stuck with me, and who knows if I'll ever break that. But yeah, so we all have our own characters. We all got who we are and stuff, and that's in part. If you notice something about my work where you're thinking, I don't know, should I believe it? Should I believe my eyes? You know, why Ian? Why is he getting stuff? But I see all these other guys walking around in the forest and stuff. Why aren't they getting this stuff? Like, what's going on? That, I believe, can be part of the difference, is they have learned to comfort with me based on I don't trip out. You know, Bigfoot, you know, I've gone and forgotten his name, but Bigfoot, what's that? You know, the guy who does a lot of walking and stuff with all the structures and stuff. Oh boy, his name's just gone and slipped my mind. Anybody? Bigfoot. I would try. Yeah, Mark. You know, what's his Colorado? That's why I'm not saying the name first. Okay, Colorado Bigfoot. Pardon me. Anyways, him. To me, it seems like he has to, when he's out there, he's for sure got to have the camera on. I don't know if he's always got to have a partner. I don't know this. I don't really watch him. I have watched him. I have nothing bad to say about the guy at all. I think he's doing a world of marvelous information coming from him, right? I did watch his video the other day where he stated some claim on his work, and that was great for him to do that, and I agree with him to do that. And if anybody thinks that they're better than him at that, then they should step forward and do that challenge instead of any of us just trying to make fun because he's happy about his skills. And one of the claims that he said, I don't fully agree with, but I do agree with it. And what it is he says he's got the most structures. He says he's got the most structures out of, you know, if I recall correctly how he was describing it, like probably anybody out of the world. that he has got the most pictures and most of different structures and so on and so forth. And he does have a lot of evidence of the Bigfoot beings and so on and so forth, a certain culture of them, a certain farming technique, certain stuff going on there. For sure he does. But where I don't agree with him is not all leans, not all the stuff that he's pointing out, I believe should fall under structures. Because out here, what I see is, let's say a playhouse structure. I count all those. So any of those ones where he's coming across these little things and stuff, and they're built like almost like a little shack, a little shed, a little lean-to, a little different thing like that, I agree that those are small structures of sorts. Does anybody stay in there or something like that? I don't know. But I do agree on that level there. Things where it's just a compile of things that have just fallen and they're kind of, a certain these ones and stuff like that, and things pointing in directions and so on and so forth. In my earlier days, I did study that stuff and wondered if there was mapping systems for the youngsters built into that kind of stuff. That's where some of my mind would go. But since I've been out there, in our Canadian area, and I haven't even gone on up into the Rockies yet, and in our Canadian area around where I go, structures are frickin' structures. They're not like what I call my motel jungle gym. It's gone ginormous from what it was then. It was huge. No problem. If you know the parking lot I'm in here, it would more than oversize this parking lot for sure when I was calling it the Motel Jungle Gym. And I went down into it there's the compilation of logs and the compilation of hiding in there, because where I'm talking, it's alive with life. Swamp running through it, so water's right there. When you find water within the reach of their living space, then you can feel that much more comfortable that it's their living space. Okay, so anyways, this in particular thing, it's incredible with life, and that's the one I'm going to do my live on. It's just I'm having a little bit of problem with my my phone company of not giving me my data for some reason, and I got to get on the horn and phone them. But they gypped me last month, and they're gypping me again this month, so I got to get on to them, and I should have a couple of good hours that I can do a live, and that's where I want to do it. I've got some plans, of how I'm going to do it. It's going to be a hot day. It's going to be nice. We're going to get some stuff. There's lots of us out there that really feel that other people can see your stuff pretty good and such like that. But I truly do have a couple of things that I know that I've been sitting beside too many people that they let that first face-to-face, they see that guy sitting in there who's probably sitting in there like this, and his dad's sitting in here, and I think his dad's arm might be kind of coming over him like this, and if you look down there, down into his lap, you might see a couple of more eyes. Maybe dad's hand is resting on another junior's head down there, because I believe you get to see these big rugged fingers, unless it's a head that is kind of like that. That's the only thing that I've kind of thought to myself, well, maybe there's a major scrunch in somebody's head where his folds of skin or something like that. But yeah, so look how you look in that in particular thing. Try to understand where I've stood there. If you get to see my baboon-headed guy, that guy was, so on the 13th of my 21 days, that's my first face-to-face. On the 15th of my 21 days with Bigfoot, I get another interaction. But yeah, the distance of it and stuff, you got to allow your imagination to win what you're seeing. Unless you got a good you know, the good, you're doing the big zoom and stuff like that, maybe then you can pick out better. You know, I'm not recalling what the name of that one is. But anyway, so the 13th and then the 19th was my big baboon headed. So I know what I had on those 3 days. In my first 21 days of Bigfoot, within the first day, I was just like, I walked up a way that, you know, was just different. And I'm like, wow, I think I'm seeing a whole bunch of these prints, like presses everywhere. So I came back and I came back and I came back. 13th day, get my first interaction that I knew of. 15th day, another one. 19th day, another one of just the scariest looking head in the world, man. And I caught him real quick in the video. If you watch it, you know, I'm pointing out to you guys some type of color that you can use as drawing your attention. And this is kind of funny because I'm talking about my 19th day. Oh, because I was comparing that color of darkness, that's correct, with my 13th day interaction. So anyway, so I'm coming along with the camera and I see, you see that black kind of thing there or whatever. So you kind of look for something like that, but that's probably just root or stump or something like this. And I go like this and I go, nope, like that. And basically you get to see the left profile of a head and so on and so forth, go wild from there. And yeah, and then just look at some of my newer stuff. Allow yourself to do some zoom and spend a little bit of time. Maybe that one I talked about earlier here. I would suggest that might be it. That's, you know, I've had some really good reviews on that one. And I believe I got probably a number of different hiders in there. And like I'm telling you, man, we could hide pretty good if we were using, I was wearing some camo, eh? So you look for things like this. Stuff like this isn't hidden as much. So if you can pick out something, man, I swear that just looks like a hand there. And then say I take my camera over this way and I come back there and you can tell I'm in a different spot, but you use your own thing and you're imagining and stuff and you're sitting there thinking, no, that whatever I thought, I swear on that other time, it's like this. Now it's like that. And allow yourself to start believing to that level. Doesn't mean you're 100% saying anything, but what you're going to be allowing yourself to do is open up that vision because, you know, we always have said that, you know, our awareness happens when we're just allowing ourselves to be aware. And, you know, anybody who's on the Bigfoot stuff, they're either maybe becoming aware of something in the world that is just making them think, or they're just hearing us talk about it. How many of us are running around, Bigfoot world, you know, just the people out there in the, you know, so why is the Bigfoot community growing? Because you can tell it's growing right now. There's a lot more people who are getting involved in just watching it and so on and so forth. So hats off to all of us who are out there doing our work. Different research is okay. Different ideas. Guys who see faces in clouds. It's okay to say what you want. I guess it's okay for me to say that I can't see faces in clouds. You know, but, you know, if you don't see the face in my first face-to-face video, then I believe you need a lot of effort. Because that guy just is there. There's no doubt in my mind. And the amount of people that have sat beside me and seen it, no doubt in my mind. The amount of people that have given me support and said certain things on that video, no doubt in my mind. And even with the baboon-headed guy, because he is a trippy look. His look is, you almost have to look cartoonish. The way that, but I seen him instantly, so I seen him instantly this way with the camera. This way, I struggled to see him. To be able to see him, I could make out. I knew something was there. I'm challenging myself, even in the video, to see what I was seeing there. On video, I get to see him do at least 2 different moves. Haven't looked at him for months. Don't look at it much anymore. But I know he moved within the long video, the around 10-minute video or something. About 2.5 minutes or something like that. He comes into the frame. But yeah, he even moves at points in there and stuff. So cloak is only hiding. There is no, if like for people to use the word cloak, I just go with hiding. How do you think they shatter glass into fine little pieces? I don't know. I think what they'll do is they break it into those pieces. That's what they do with the rocks that I talk about and stuff. At times you'll find it down to the sand form. Do you think they could be in residential areas? 100% they're in residential areas. I don't think it, I say it. People don't have to agree with me on that, but 100%. They cloak like predator. I don't know exactly how, but they can. It's really hiding, Georgia, from my view. The glide when they travel, they glide. Yeah. You know, I get you there, man. That's a weird one, and I think it has to do with the speed. You know what? I don't know if you listened to this one recently, William, but well, that was Cosmic. That I came up to the end of that. You know, it's a double cul-de-sac that I camp out in lots of times and do research on. Well, lots of times what I do is I kind of just do this drive around the cul-de-sac, and it's all about them. It isn't really me putting off my, going to bed or, anything like that. It's all about them. But anyway, so I did this the one night there, and it was 4 o'clock in the morning, if I remember correctly. It was really in there, and the lights on and stuff. There was wet ground. It was rainy time. And the thing that I liked about it is that when I seen it, because there's a struggle to see it, so it's nice to go for secondary information right away, you guys. Whatever information you can grab on him, her, whatever it is, and then go for the secondary information. Like, say if you thought he was under a tree. When you're looking, and you believe you're observing, and say he ducks out the back, then with your eyes, just go bang and look at the tree. See where the tree in comparison with him. That's a great piece of information. And the way that I really learned this was because I did that based on trying to see foot pattern of him on the asphalt, because it was wet. So I was hoping to be able to see something, but what that did was it honed my eyes into the proper approximately location. So I never felt, maybe he was back there, not on the cul-de-sac, and he was doing whatever when he whipped across there. And it's almost like that. So it was almost like this. So this is, in my video, I describe it kind of like like the black and white videos, the projector days, where it was almost like that. So through thinking, but you know how sometimes it's really tough when it's this quick, this invisible, so on and so forth. But I believe what I seen in that, like that, was I believe I seen like maybe, this is what I'm figuring. 2 arms going down like that. You shift yourself forward like that, right? You hit your legs there. Your feet there, you plant your feet there, and you plant your hands right beside you again, and you do another one like that. The feet one, maybe it's just a hand one, like maybe that was a hand one without feet, and the feet came through, landed there. That's right. And then, oh yeah, so maybe then the hands don't land here, but it's all about the draw to that position, and then to that position, I believe that I seen. So I believe I seen kind of like a hand landing, wham, bang, almost like, let's just say if he has to stop, a split second of speed, just bang, bang, like that. And it was something, it was either, but I believe it, like, for me to pick up on it as well as I did, I believed I got to see that whole profile of the body of some sort in a certain position. It felt like a crunched position, or it looked like a crunched position. These aren't based on feelings. It's really based on what I observed. You know, it really did give me a very well picture of how a chimpanzee maybe could be moving just across a piece of property, but not with that. A chimpanzee would never be able to flow in that particular thing. I've seen their work. I've watched chimps a lot, you know, always on programs and stuff, but I know their body language really well, and it was something beyond a chimp's speeds, that's for sure. And when it comes to, like, because I believe what I did was I went like this with my look and went like that. So I just seen what I seen body profile like, and my eyes just scanned down like that. And I believe the head must have been turned away from me. So obviously on purpose. I also believed that it was, yeah, you did that on purpose. You just want, and so what I did was I actually didn't even, I pulled poker face, poker attitude, and the whole bit. Acted like I was still free-wheeling it or whatever type thing. Did my turnaround, and I'm looking for the prints and stuff. Because where he went and stuff, I know that spot. I've looked up in there lots of times. And it's where there will be a couple of houses right there, but they haven't been put in yet. So I didn't have to waste any of that kind of valuable time. I'm really good at that willpower of, I work a lot on practicing my peripheral, not by doing this, although this would be probably a way to do it, but I actually just do it by watching those cars drive by and see some people walk up, and you try to count how many people are standing there and stuff like that. And I worked that a lot because that's how I watch these guys. So so let's just pick something on the screen. Say I thought right now there was somebody right there. Say I'm sitting there thinking, hey, holy shit, am I seeing two eyes? If this was this was a mirror, or this was in a way able to translate the information to him, that my eyes were on him, then I don't want to do that. And that's why I practice my peripherals. So what I do is I scan areas. Okay, I seen that spot over there. I'm going to go look at that. And so let's pretend that's the dark spot right there, okay? But what I'll do is, within a preference of distance, maybe I first come and look here, and I kind of act like I'm just looking here. And what I'm actually doing is I'm actually looking here. And then maybe what I'll do is I'll bring my eyes and I'll float my eyes over. I'll try different things for my experiment on them, you know, see if I can, you know. But a peripheral view is what I'm saying I believe is a really good view. Based on that video that I have from my 15 days, that video, I did a lot of straight staring at those guys and stuff. And when you watch that video, what is it called? Oh yeah, I think it's like Surrounded by Bigfoot, you know, kind of something like this. And it will be on my, you know, probably my 100% selection there. I'll also, maybe I'll put it in its own one video thing too. But what you get to observe in that video is some guys that are pretty far away from me. Like, let's go with, like, my main view that I'm looking at is, let's just say it's around 100 feet. Yeah. Well, what they do is, because they know I'm struggling with that, they change up that spot tons. But when you watch the video and you pick out these other ones where you figure they're around and they're closer and stuff, because that video is also a pretty cool video. I think it shows us a lot of information, but because I, standing there on site, didn't fully be able to say, yeah, I'm confirming you guys are here, then I just don't put it on that category. My 13th day, my 19th day, camera, myself, where I was, everything like that. And the funny thing is, the distance apart of all these things are all on the same piece of property, and always also very close together. But anyways, yeah. So And yeah, so what I wanted to just say about that video was I challenged them a lot in that group of looking. So you get to see that compile changing constantly. So that's one thing when you're out there working and you think, and like people think, you think you're seeing something move. Think that you're seeing it move like this more than, you know, look at the shadow, the light behind me and stuff, because they don't like to do that. They like to have it all within their same color thing, so they're kind of doing whatever they're doing. And, you know, little ones will be popping up and climbing over and coming from here and feeling as comfortable probably as we feel comfort in our parents at certain stages of our life and such like that, or our uncles or whatever. So thanks very much, guys. Appreciate the support. Where's the thumbs, guys? Not a thumb.